Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, writes that each partakes of the Christ nature to the degree that the Christ is revealed through him, to the degree that he becomes the Christ. And then Holmes tells us how to do that. He says we should turn to that living presence within, recognize it as the one and only power in the universe, and unify with it. Declare our word to be the presence, the power, and the activity of this one. We should speak the word with belief in its power because the law is the servant of the Spirit. If we could stand aside and let this one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. I love that. If we could stand aside and let this one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. So this month we're celebrating what it means to live from this place of Christ consciousness or cosmic consciousness. And today we're going to talk about the cosmic urge, which is within each and every one of us. And I want to begin by making sure that everyone is aware of something. It's contained in the quote I just read, but I want to say it in a little different way so that everyone understands it, because it's really, really important. Is everybody paying attention? Take your elbow and poke your neighbor or your spouse and say, pay attention now, this is for you. I used to do that to Diane all the time. Hey, we're talking to you. You are an outlet for the divine. I am an outlet for the divine. Let's say that together. I am an outlet for the divine. Think about an electric outlet in your wall. The electricity is there. A great power is ready to be used. Energy is waiting to be called into action. But it's dormant until we plug into it. Only then is the electricity called into action. But the potential is always there. So it is with the divine within each one of us. It's lying dormant, waiting for us to plug in to its power. And what a power it is. It's not some power or even a great power, but it's all power. It's the one and only power in the universe. And that all power and that one and only power in the universe is waiting to be expressed as you, as me, as each one of us. Now, I say that it's lying dormant, but that's not completely true. It's not completely dormant in us. Actually, it is always desiring to express itself through and as us. So there's this longing or this nagging within us for something more, for a greater experience of life. We all know that urge. We call that the cosmic urge. It's the divine within us wanting to express more and more. The cosmic urge is the desire of spirit to express itself in, as, and through us as ever expanding good. All of the great and wise people who have ever made a difference on the planet Earth have heeded this cosmic urge. People such as Buddha, Jesus, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Ernest Holmes, Nelson Mandela, the list goes on and on. But they all clearly heeded that cosmic urge within them, and they changed the world forever. Now, we often think of these people with a sense of awe and respect. We think that somehow they're different from us, that they're smarter, they're better, they're more courageous, they're more special. We do that, don't we? Yeah. They're greater than we are. We can't do that. But the truth is, we each have an amazing potential within us to do great and wonderful things in the world, because we are here by divine appointment. I love these words by Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of the great influences to our founder, Ernest Holmes. He said, "The fact that I am here certainly shows me that the soul has need of an organ here. The fact that I'm here certainly shows me that the soul has need for me to be here. There's a reason I am here." So we must simply be willing to prayerfully pursue the cosmic urge and patiently prepare for what it has to reveal to us. So we'll look at those two things a little deeper. Prayerfully pursue the cosmic urge. There's a story of a couple who had a 4-year-old and a newborn. And the 4-year-old wanted time with the baby alone. In fact, he was quite adamant about it, and he kept pushing and pushing his parents to let him have time alone with the baby. And they were, of course, concerned about leaving their baby, newborn baby, with a 4-year-old. But eventually they decided to turn on the baby monitor in the other room so that they could hear what's going on in the baby's room, and so they let the 4-year-old go on in. And from what the parents could tell from the baby monitor, it sounded like Big Brother got as close to the crib as he could, and close to the baby's ear as he could through the slats on the crib. And he whispered, "Tell me, baby, what is God like? I'm starting to forget." We can forget that, can't we? We can start to forget. But the truth is, we are here to consciously remember, to prayerfully pursue the God of our being and who we've come here to be. Remember, we're here by divine appointment. We are here to be who we came here to be in perhaps great ways, big ways in the world, and small ways in our own lives, realizing that with God there is no big or small. And speaking of the cosmic urge, in his book, The Basic Ideas of Science of the Mind, Ernest Holmes writes, "There is something within us which constantly pushes us forward, which demands continued progress. Inertia may hinder our paying much attention to this inner urge, but it is always there. It's what keeps us going ahead, because it is what we are, demanding expression. Made in the image and likeness of the Father, we cannot accept stagnation. Something protests against it. We must be moving forward into a higher and more satisfying spiritual nature. The divine discontent is a factor in our very makeup, and unless we are following its promptings, we are not happy. We cannot get away from it because it is part of our nature, and our unfoldment is something for which we are specifically responsible." That's what we teach here, right? We are responsible for our expression of life. So divine discontent is definitely a way that the cosmic urge gets our attention. So think for a moment. How is divine discontent right now in your life urging you forward into a fuller expression of that Christ nature within you? What has your attention? Passion and enthusiasm are also ways that the cosmic urge gets our attention. The Persian poet Rumi says it in a bit of a softer way. He says, "Feel yourself being quietly drawn by the deeper pull of what you truly love." Feel yourself being quietly drawn by the deeper pull of what you truly love, or a pool, drawing you into that pool. If you're struggling with getting the big picture of your purpose, of your passion, then live your little picture passions and purposes. What do you want to do in this moment? Speak the truth for yourself. And when you do this regularly, with the small things, then the bigger things naturally will be easier to identify when they come along. Howard Thurman was an influential African-American author, philosopher, theologian, educator, civil rights leader, and he once said, and I love this, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Isn't that great? What the world needs is people who have come alive, that are expressing the divine within themselves, the cosmic urge. And prayerfully pursuing your cosmic urge just might require patiently preparing for what it has to reveal to you. Here's a great story about the importance of patience to let the divine urge in us unfold in its right and perfect time. It's called the late bloomer. We got any late bloomers here today? Diane and we always say we're late bloomers. Franklin, he's a late bloomer too. And this is about all of us late bloomers. There was a cactus that stood all alone in the desert in Mexico, wondering why it was stuck in the middle of nowhere. ¿Por qué, Dios? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? I do nothing but stand here all day, it sighed. What use am I? I'm the ugliest plant in the desert. My spines are thin and prickly. My leaves are rubbery and tough. My skin is thick and bumpy. I can't offer shade or juicy fruit to any passing traveler. I don't see that I'm any use at all. And all it did was stand in the sun day after day, growing taller and fatter. Its spines grew longer and its leaves tougher, and it swelled here and there until it was lumpy and lopsided all over. It was truly strange looking. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? I wish I could do something useful, it sighed. By day the hawks circled high overhead. What can I do with my life, the cactus called. Whether they heard or not, the hawks sailed away. And at night the moon floated in the sky and cast its pale glow on the desert flow. What good can I do with my life, the cactus called. The moon only stared coldly as it mounted its course. And a lizard crawled by, leaving a little trail in the sand with its tail. What worthy deed can I do, the cactus called. You? The lizard laughed, pausing a moment. Worthy deed? Why, you can't do anything. The hawks circle way overhead, tracing delicate patterns for us all to admire. The moon hangs high like a lantern at night so that we can see our ways home to our loved ones. Even I, the lowly lizard, have something to do. I decorate the sands with these beautiful brush strokes as I pull my tail along. But you do nothing but get uglier every day. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué, Dios? And so it went on, year after year. And at last the cactus grew old, and it knew its time was short. Oh, Dios! I've wandered so long, and I've tried so hard. Forgive me if I failed to do something worthy. I failed to find something worthy to do. I fear that now it's too late. But just then the cactus felt a strange stirring and unfolding, and it knew a surge of joy that erased all of its despair. At its very tip, like a sudden crown, a glorious flower unexpectedly opened in bloom. Never had the desert known such a blossom. Its fragrance perfumed the air far and wide and brought happiness to all passing by. The butterflies paused to admire his beauty, and that night even the moon smiled to find such a treasure. The cactus heard a voice. "You have waited long," the Lord said. "The heart that seeks to do good reflects my glory and will always bring something worthwhile to the world, something in which all can rejoice, even if only for a moment." So this tale from the Mexican desert assures us that we will answer the divine urge if we patiently prepare for its revelation. The flowering of the cactus is kind of like symbolizing the flowering of the crown chakra, you might say, that chakra of enlightenment, the knowing God, the Christ consciousness within us. So patience is the key. Does anyone remember in the movie Saving Private Ryan, there was a group of soldiers in World War II that were sent deep into enemy territory to rescue one young soldier whose brothers had all been killed. I think there was 4 or 5 of them, and all of them had been killed except for Private Ryan. So the army wanted to save that sole surviving son so they could send that son back to his parents. And there was a lot of discussion about whether this was a worthy mission. Sounds kind of like discussions we have today in politics. Whether it was a worthy mission, a smart mission. It certainly was a dangerous mission, and so they went in to save Private Ryan. And in the final moments of rescuing him, there's a battle, and the leader of that small band of soldiers is mortally shot. And as he was lying there dying, Private Ryan came over to him, and in his last breath, the leader, not exactly in these words, but in the essence of these words, said to the young private, he said, "Make it worth it. Make it worth it." When we prayerfully pursue the cosmic urge and we patiently prepare for its revelation within us, we make it worth it. We make it worth it. We start to reflect the image of that God whom we are a part of. We stand in and celebrate our own Christ consciousness. I want to make it worth it. What about you? The divine in me sees the divine in you. Namaste. And so it is.